My sister excluded me from her wedding for being too young, but is now furious that her kids can't come to my destination wedding in Greece. When I said no, she screamed, "Family is everything." Her husband added, "You're just bitter we left you out." A week later, they showed up uninvited, only to be escorted out by security, and my grandma said, "This is what karma looks like." I'm Sienna, 32 years old, and I just got married in one of the most beautiful places in the world, Santorini, Greece. My husband, Leo, and I spent months planning a small but elegant wedding, inviting only our closest friends and family. It was supposed to be perfect, drama-free, a celebration of love. Instead, it turned into a circus act starring my older sister, Melanie, and her massive sense of entitlement. But to really understand how we got here, you need to know about the first time she broke my heart. I was 19 when Melanie got married. She was 27, and her fiancé, Travis, was 30. They were planning a huge traditional wedding in downtown Chicago, and for months, I was beyond excited. I had always looked up to Melanie. Even though she was 8 years older than me, I thought we were close. She was the big sister I admired, the one who gave me advice on dating, makeup, and navigating life. I thought she saw me as someone important in her life. I was wrong. One night, we were sitting in our parents' living room, going over wedding plans. Mom had bridal magazines spread out across the coffee table, and Melanie was going on and on about centerpieces and seating charts. I was sitting cross-legged on the couch, flipping through a bridesmaid dress catalog, already dreaming about which one I might wear. I had assumed, stupidly, that I'd be at the wedding party. I mean, why wouldn't I be? I was her only sister. Then, as casually as if she were talking about the weather, Melanie said, "Oh, Sienna, by the way, you're not going to be at the bridal party." I blinked, certain I misheard her. "Wait, what?" She looked up from her glass of wine, giving me one of those patronizing smiles she always did when she thought I was being naive. I decided to keep the bridesmaids around my age. It's just more mature vibe, you know? I stared at her, my brain scrambling to catch up. "But I'm your sister, and you'll still be at the wedding," she said, like she was doing me a favor. "I just don't want the wedding party to feel unbalanced." "You're too young, Sienna. You won't even be able to drink at the bachelorette party." My chest tightened. "I don't care about drinking. I just wanted to stand by your side." Melanie waved her hand dismissively. "You'll have more fun as a guest. Bridesmaids have a lot of responsibilities." I turned to my mom, hoping she'd step in, but she just sighed, squeezing my hand. "Sweetheart, it's her wedding. Let's not make a fuss." Travis, who had been sitting quietly up until that point, finally chimed in. "Honestly, Sienna, it's probably for the best. The wedding's going to be a really formal, elegant affair. You'd probably be bored with all the grown-up stuff." I felt humiliated, like I was some little kid they were patting on the head and sending it to the kids' table. But fine. I swallowed my pride and went to the wedding as a guest, sitting in the crowd while Melanie's college friends and work buddies stood beside her at the altar. I smiled, pretended it didn't hurt, and clapped at all the right moments. But I never forgot. Fast forward 13 years, and I had built a life of my own. I worked in marketing, traveled the world, and met Leo, the love of my life. When he proposed during a sunset dinner in Santorini, we knew immediately that we wanted to get married there. It would be small, intimate, and special. When I sent out invitations, Melanie was, of course, on the list. We weren't as close as we used to be, but I still thought, despite everything, that we had a decent relationship. That illusion shattered the moment she called me. "Sienna, so excited for your wedding. The kids can't wait." I frowned, shifting my phone to my other ear. "Oh, what? The kids? Liam and Ava. They've never been to Europe before. This will be such an amazing experience for them." I sighed, already knowing where this was going. "Mel, it's an adults-only wedding." There was silence. Then, an incredulous laugh. "You're joking." "I'm not. We decided we want a child-free wedding. It's going to be a long, formal event, and honestly, we just want everyone to be able to relax and enjoy themselves." She scoffed. "Are you serious? You're telling me my children aren't welcome?" I pinched the bridge of my nose. "It's not personal. We just don't want kids at the wedding." "It is personal," she snapped. "You're excluding my children. Family is everything, Sienna." I clenched my jaw. "You didn't seem to think so when you excluded me from your wedding." "That was different," she said immediately. "No, it wasn't." She let out a frustrated breath. "You're just doing this to get back at me, aren't you?" I laughed, shaking my head. "It's not revenge, Melanie. It's my wedding. My choice." "Well," she said, her voice turning cold, "you'll regret this." The week of the wedding, I assumed she had taken the hint. I hadn't heard from her since that call, so I figured she had just decided not to come. I was wrong. The night before the wedding, at our welcome dinner, my cousin Jake pulled me aside. Your sister's here." I blinked. "What do you mean?" "She just checked into the resort. With Travis. And the kids." My stomach dropped. Marching straight to the front desk, I found Melanie standing there with her luggage, looking smug. "Surprise," she said cheerfully. "We decided to come anyway." I gritted my teeth. "Melanie, what are you doing?" She shrugged. The kids wanted to see their aunt get married. And you're not seriously going to make them miss it, are you? I crossed my arms. They're not invited. Her smile faded. You are so selfish. Travis stepped in, looking equally pissed. You're just bitter we left you out of our wedding. I laughed coldly. You're damn right I was. But guess what? That was your choice. And this is mine. That's when she lost it, screaming about how I was destroying our family, how I was heartless. And that's when security showed up. The wedding venue had strict guest policies, and I had given them my list ahead of time. Within minutes, Melanie, Travis, and their kids were escorted off the premises. And as I stood there, my grandma took a sip of her champagne, leaned in, and whispered, "This is what karma looks like." After Melanie and Travis were escorted out of the resort, I expected that to be the end of it. I thought she'd realize how ridiculous she was being and just go enjoy Greece with her family. Maybe pout about it to our mom. Maybe send me a passive-aggressive text. But no, because Melanie wasn't done yet. The next morning, the day of my wedding, I woke up to a flood of messages. At first, I thought they were the usual well wishes from friends and family. But then I started reading them. Aunt Donna. Sienna, are you serious? You had your sister thrown out? That was way too harsh. Uncle Ray, not cool, kid. You would have handled that better. Mom, we need to talk. Call me ASAP. I sat up in bed, groggy, heart pounding. Leo stirred next to me. What's wrong? I shoved my phone at him. Apparently, I'm the villain now. Leo rubbed his face, glancing at the screen. He sighed. Let me guess. Your sister's been running her mouth. I didn't even need to guess. Of course she had. I threw back the covers and immediately dialed my mom. She picked up on the first ring. Sienna, what the hell happened last night? I took a deep breath. Mom, you know what happened? Melanie showed up uninvited with her kids, tried to force her way into the wedding, and threw a tantrum when she got told no. She's devastated. Mom said, her voice heavy with disappointment. She said she flew all the way there just to support you, and you humiliated her. I laughed bitterly. Support me? Mom, she was trying to force my hand. She thought if she just showed up, I wouldn't have the guts to say no. She's your sister, Sienna, and I was her sister when she left me out of her wedding. I snapped. Did you call her back then? Did you tell her she was being unfair? There was silence. Finally, she sighed. That was different. There it is, I muttered, shaking my head. It's always different when it's Melanie. Sienna, I just think you could have handled it better, Mom said gently. You didn't have to call security on her. She gave me no choice. I said, exasperated. What was I supposed to do? Let her waltz in and pretend like everything was fine? Let her make a scene in front of my guests? She made her bed, Mom. There was a long pause. Then she said quietly, You've changed. I felt something inside me snap. No, Mom. I just stopped letting Melanie walk all over me. And with that, I hung up. I should have left my phone in my room after that. I should have turned it off and focused on getting ready for my big day. But instead, I let the stress get to me. More texts came in. More people suddenly had opinions about how I had handled the situation. Cousin Janine, family is family. Sienna, what you did was kind of heartless. Aunt Susan, she traveled all that way. You really couldn't make an exception? Even some of my friends were weighing in. Megan, I totally get the no kids thing, but did you really need security? That's intense. I wanted to throw my phone against the wall. She's turning people against me. I muttered, pacing in my bridal suite. My maid of honor, Tasha, was sitting on the couch in her silk robe, sipping champagne, watching me spiral. Sienna, she said, setting her glass down, you need to stop reading that crap. I turned to her, exasperated. How can I? My own family thinks I'm the bad guy. She rolled her eyes. Yeah, because Melanie's probably been sobbing to them about how cruel you were, leaving out the part where she ambushed you. She always does this, I muttered. She plays the victim so well. Tasha stood up and grabbed my shoulders. Babe, listen to me. Today is your wedding day. You are about to marry the love of your life in the most beautiful place in the world, surrounded by people who actually support you. Are you really going to let her ruin this for you? I sighed, rubbing my temples. No good, she said. Then hand over your phone. Reluctantly, I gave it to her. She shut it off and tossed it into a drawer. There. Now let's get you married. For a few glorious hours, I let myself forget about the drama. I put on my dress, walked down the aisle, and married Leo in the most breathtaking ceremony. The cliffs of Santorini stretched behind us, the Aegean Sea sparkling under the golden sunset. It was everything I had dreamed of and more. The reception was just as magical. We drank, we danced, we laughed. For the first time all day, I felt at peace. Until, of course, Melanie decided to make one last appearance. I was mid-conversation with my dad when I heard a commotion near the entrance. A couple of guests had turned their heads, whispering, and then I heard a very familiar voice. You need to let me in. This is my sister's wedding. My stomach dropped. Leo appeared at my side in an instant. What the hell? I turned and saw her, Melanie, standing at the entrance of my reception in a cocktail dress, arguing with security. Unbelievable, I muttered. Leo exhaled sharply. I'll handle it. But before he could, Grandma beat him to it. Now, let me tell you something about my grandmother. She's 85, but she has the energy of a woman half her age, and she does not tolerate nonsense. She marched straight up to Melanie, her heels clicking against the stone pathway, and laid into her. Melanie, she said, voice sharp as a knife. What the hell do you think you're doing? Melanie spun around, eyes wild. Grandma, thank God. You need to talk some sense into them. They won't let me in. Grandma folded her arms. Because you weren't invited. Melanie's face turned red. But I'm her sister. Family is everything. Grandma let out a laugh. A cold, knowing laugh. Funny, she said. Where was that energy when you left Sienna out of your wedding? Melanie's mouth opened, then closed. Grandma took a step closer. You thought you could stomp your feet and get your way. But honey, you made your bed. Now lie in it. I swear I almost cheered. Security didn't even have to step in. Melanie, humiliated, turned on her heel and stormed off. And just like that, she was gone. I let out a breath I hadn't even realized I was holding. Leo kissed my temple. Now that that's over, shall we get back to celebrating? I smiled. Yes, I said. Let's. Even after Melanie stormed off, I still felt the tension in my chest. The reception went on. The music played, people laughed, but I couldn't fully shake the feeling that my sister had done some real damage. My mom had been watching the whole thing unfold, sitting at her table, barely touching her wine. She looked torn, like she wanted to come over to me, but also didn't want to admit I had been right. Finally, after about 20 minutes, she got up and walked toward me. I saw Leo tense beside me, but I put a hand on his arm. It's fine. Mom reached me, her face unreadable. Sienna, can we talk? I sighed, setting down my champagne. Mom, if this is about Melanie, not here, she interrupted, glancing around. Just come with me for a second. I hesitated. The last thing I wanted was to get dragged into more family drama on my wedding night. But this was my mother. I gave Leo a quick look, and he nodded. I'll be right here if you need me. Mom led me away from the reception area, toward a quieter spot near the gardens of the villa. The soft glow of lanterns lined the pathway, and the distant sound of waves crashing against the cliffs filled the silence between us. She finally turned to face me. That was a lot. No kidding, I muttered. She rubbed her temples. Melanie called me after security escorted her out earlier. Of course she did. And let me guess, she sobbed about how awful I am. Mom exhaled sharply. She's upset, Sienna. She's always upset when she doesn't get her way. I shot back. But do you even realize how insane this is? She wasn't invited. She forced her way here. She embarrassed herself. Mom winced. You did call security on your sister. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Are you serious right now? What the hell was I supposed to do, Mom? Let her crash my wedding? Let her guilt trip me into changing my entire event just to please her? Mom sighed. I just wish you two could get along. Yeah, well, I wish she wasn't so selfish. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she sat down on the stone ledge of the garden wall and looked up at me. When you and Melanie were kids, she started, her voice softer. She was so excited to have a little sister. She would beg to hold you, dress you up, play with you. She wanted to be your protector. I folded my arms. And what happened to that version of her? Mom smiled sadly. Life, I guess. She always felt like she had to prove something, that she had to be in control. And when things don't go her way, she sighed. Well, you know how she is. I sat down next to her. That's not an excuse. I know. We sat in silence for a moment, the wind carrying the sound of laughter from the reception behind us. Finally, Mom turned to me. She was wrong to exclude you from her wedding. And she was definitely wrong tonight. I looked at her surprised. So, you actually admit that? She smiled weakly. I do. And I'm sorry if I made you feel like I wasn't on your side. She sighed. It's hard, being in the middle of you two. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I don't want you to be in the middle. I just want you to stop acting like I'm always the bad guy when Melanie screws up. Mom reached over and squeezed my hand. I'll try. It wasn't a perfect resolution, but it was something. By the time I got back to the reception, I decided to let it go. The night wasn't about Melanie. It was about me and Leo and the people who actually cared about us. And once I finally let myself relax, I had the best time. Leo and I danced under the twinkling lights, surrounded by the people who loved us. My dad made a heartfelt speech that left me in tears. Tasha got hilariously drunk and demanded we all do a choreographed dance from our college days. Grandma took over the dance floor at one point, proving that even at 85, she had more energy than half the guests combined. By the time the night was winding down, I was happy. Really, truly happy. And for the first time, Melanie wasn't in the back of my mind. At least, not until the next morning. I woke up to a perfect Santorini sunrise. Leo was still asleep beside me, his arm draped over my waist, his face peaceful. For a second, I let myself just enjoy the moment, the quiet, the warmth, the realization that I was officially married. Then my phone buzzed. I hesitated. I had turned it off after the wedding drama, but now, curiosity got the best of me. I grabbed it from a nightstand and turned it on. One missed call from Melanie, one voicemail, and a text from my cousin Jake that made my stomach drop. Uh, you're not going to believe what Melanie is posting on Facebook. I groaned, already knowing this wasn't going to be good. I opened my voicemail first. Melanie's voice came through, tight and shaking with anger. I hope you're happy, Sienna. You made a complete fool out of me. You humiliated me in front of the whole family. But guess what? I'm not just going to sit back and let you act like some kind of victim. People need to know the real you. You think this is over? It's not. I stare at my phone, my heart pounding. Then, cautiously, I switched over to Facebook, and my stomach sank because Melanie had gone nuclear. She had made a long, dramatic post about how I was a cold-hearted, selfish bride who had turned her back on family. She claimed she had only wanted to support me, that she had flown across the world for me, and that I had cruelly humiliated her and her innocent children. She even posted a video, a cropped, edited version of her arguing with security, making it look like she was being unfairly kicked out for no reason. The comment section was a war zone. Some people were supporting her, others were defending me, and a few family members were now openly fighting each other. I felt sick. Leo stirred beside me. What's wrong? I turned to him, my voice shaking with disbelief. My sister just declared war on social media. I sat up in bed, scrolling through the Facebook post, my heart pounding. The comments were a mess. Some are from people I barely knew, distant relatives, Melanie's friends, random people from her hometown. Some were defending me. Others? Not so much. Aunt Donna, wow, Sienna, you couldn't put your pride aside for one day? She's your sister. Melanie's friend Lisa. Unbelievable. She flew all that way to be there for you, and you had her thrown out like garbage? My cousin Jake, bless him, El Mayo, didn't she exclude Sienna from her own wedding? The hypocrisy is insane. My childhood friend Maria, Sienna, and Leo wanted a child-free wedding. Why is that so hard to understand? Then I saw Mom's comment. Mom, I wish things had gone differently. Family should come first. My stomach clenched. She wasn't outright taking Melanie's side, but she wasn't exactly standing up for me, either. Leo rubbed his face. Okay, first things first, do not engage. I let out a humorless laugh. Oh, don't worry. I'm not about to start a comment war on my honeymoon. He kissed my shoulder. Good. Let her spin her little sob story. People who actually know you won't fall for it. I sighed, setting my phone down. I just can't believe she recorded it. She planned this. She knew exactly what she was doing. She's embarrassed, Leo said simply. People like Melanie? They can't stand being embarrassed. Instead of admitting she messed up, she's doubling down. I knew he was right, but it still stung. And it got worse. Around noon, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was the family group chat. I debated ignoring it. But then I saw the sheer number of messages flying in and curiosity got the best of me. I tapped in and immediately regretted it. Aunt Susan, Melanie, honey, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Uncle Ray, I don't know. Man, sounds like Sienna made her rules clear. I wouldn't have shown up uninvited. Melanie, I just don't understand how my own sister could treat me like this. I would have never done this to her. Jake, are you kidding me? You literally left her out of your wedding. And your reason? Too young. That was way worse than this. Mom, enough. This family is falling apart over something that should have never happened in the first place. Me agreed. Maybe next time, Melanie will respect someone else's wedding instead of making it about her. I probably shouldn't have sent that. But at this point, I was done staying silent. Melanie fired back immediately. Melanie, wow. Just wow. Enjoy your honeymoon. Sienna. Hope you're happy. Then, just like that, she left the group chat. A few seconds later, I saw the notification, Melanie has blocked you. I stare at my phone, stunned. She blocked me. I muttered. Leo snorted. Seriously? I turned the screen toward him. She blocked me. On WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. Jesus. She's going nuclear. Leo leaned back against the pillows, stretching his arms behind his head. Well, that solves that problem. I groaned, flopping back on the bed. Not really. Now she's gonna go around telling people she had to block me because I'm toxic or something. He smirked. Let her. You're in Greece with your hot new husband. Meanwhile, she's at home, stewing in her own bitterness. I sighed, staring at the ceiling. He was right. Melanie could spin whatever narrative she wanted. But at the end of the day, she had made herself look like an entitled brat. The people who mattered? They knew the truth. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. Later that night, after a long, beautiful day exploring Santorini, I was curled up in bed with Leo, half asleep, when my phone buzzed again. At first, I ignored it. But then I saw the name. Dad. I hesitated. Unlike Mom, my dad hadn't gotten involved in the drama. At least, not that I had seen. He had been at the wedding, and he had laughed when Grandma shut Melanie down. But he hadn't really said much. I answered. Hey, Dad. Hey, kiddo. He said, his voice warm but tired. You got a minute? I sat up, suddenly alert. Yeah. What's up? There was a pause. Then he sighed. I just got off the phone with your sister. I rubbed my temples. Of course you did. She's upset. I huffed. I bet she is. She says she's done with you. I blinked. She blocked me, Dad. That's kind of obvious. He chuckled. Yeah, well, she also told me she never wants to speak to you again. I frowned. Okay. He sighed again. Look, Sienna, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You're a grown woman. And honestly, you were right. You and Leo deserve to have the wedding you wanted, without her barging in and making it about herself. I blinked in surprise. Wait, you actually think I was right? He chuckled. Of course I do. I love your sister, but she's been spoiled her whole damn life. Your mom and I, we let her get away with too much. And now, she's throwing a tantrum because she didn't get her way. I let out a slow breath. Wow, I did not expect you to say that. Don't get me wrong, he said. I wish things didn't get so ugly. But Melanie did this to herself. I hesitated. Then why are you calling? There was a long pause. Then, quietly, he said, because I don't think she's really done with you. She's angry now, but give it time. She'll find a way to weasel her way back in. I smirked. What? You think she's going to unblock me when she needs something? He laughed. Exactly. And when she does, don't let her guilt you into anything. I smiled, feeling something warm settle in my chest. Thanks, Dad. Anytime, kiddo. I hung up, feeling lighter. Leo looked over. Everything okay? I nodded. Yeah, Dad. Basically, he said Melanie is full of crap, and I shouldn't let her guilt trip me when she inevitably tries to come back. Leo grinned. Smart man. I snuggled into his side, finally allowing myself to relax. Maybe Melanie was furious now. Maybe she was spreading whatever lies she wanted. But my dad had my back, and for the first time in a long time, I felt completely at peace. Leo and I spent the rest of our honeymoon in absolute bliss. We hiked through Santorini's stunning landscapes, indulged in the best food and wine, and most importantly, ignored any and all drama from back home. By the time we returned to the US, I felt refreshed, ready to start this new chapter in my life. But of course, Melanie wasn't done yet. A week after we landed, I got an email from Aunt Susan. Subject, family reconciliation. I groaned, already knowing this wasn't going to be good. I clicked on it, and sure enough, Susan was doing the classic, let's all just get along routine. Sienna, darling, I think enough time has passed, and it's time for you and Melanie to put this silly fight behind you. Family is too important to let pride get in the way. We're having a barbecue next weekend, and I really think you should come. Melanie will be there, and this will be a great chance to talk things through. Please don't let a misunderstanding ruin your bond as sisters. Asterisk, I roll my eyes so hard they nearly got stuck. A misunderstanding? Melanie crashed my wedding, turned my family against me, and then blasted me online. I showed the email to Leo. He smirked. So what's the plan? Politely decline? Or show up at popcorn? I grinned. Oh, I'm going. Because at this point, I knew exactly how to handle Melanie. The moment Leo and I walked into Aunt Susan's backyard, I could feel the tension. People were already whispering. My mom gave me a hopeful smile, and my dad gave me a subtle nod. But Melanie? Melanie looked furious that I even showed up. She was standing by the drinks table with Travis, gripping her wine glass so hard I thought it might shatter. She hadn't looked at me yet, but I could see her seething. Good. Let's see how she handles this. I played it cool, greeting people, making small talk. I refused to be the first one to speak to her. She had blocked me, after all. Sure enough, she cracked first. I had just grabbed a plate of food when I heard a very fake, very forced voice behind me. Sienna, so nice of you to finally show up. I turned, smiling sweetly. Melanie, wow, you're talking to me? I thought I was blocked. Her face twitched. Well, I just thought we needed some time apart. Oh, totally, I said, playing dumb. But I love that you were still thinking about me. That whole Facebook thing? Iconic. I didn't realize you were so invested in my wedding. Her nostrils flared. I wasn't invested, I was hurt. You humiliated me. I tilted my head. Funny. That's exactly how I felt when you excluded me from your wedding. She opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time, she had nothing to say. Aunt Susan stepped in, tried to smooth things over. Girls, come on. Let's not do this here. I smiled at her. Oh, I'm good. I'm having a great time. And just to rub it in, I turned back to Leo, who was holding a glass of wine and watching the whole thing like it was premium TV. Babe, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Did I tell you? One of my old college friends is launching a wedding blog and wants to feature our wedding in an article. Leo smirked. Oh yeah, I remember. They loved how we handled unexpected guests. Melanie's face went red. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't fighting. I was just letting her sit in her own embarrassment. And that was better than any revenge. She knew she had lost. She huffed, grabbed her purse, and turned to Travis. We're leaving. Aunt Susan gasped. Melanie, come on, no, she snapped. I don't need to stay and be mocked. She stormed off, Travis trailing behind her like a lost puppy. I turned to Leo and clinked my glass against his. Karma, I whispered. Grandma, who had been sitting in the corner watching everything, raised her glass. Told you. After that, Melanie went radio silent. No more social media rants. No more family group chat explosions. It took a few months, but eventually people saw the truth. My cousin Jake even told me later that half the family was sick of Melanie's drama and had started distancing themselves from her. As for me, I moved on. Leo and I built a beautiful life together. We traveled. We thrived. And Melanie? Well, let's just say she learned that some bridges don't get rebuilt. And honestly, I was totally okay with that.